How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It's Lex, and today, on this very after labor, post labor production of the Lex YouTube channel, I'm just trying to figure it out in
Yeah.
this moment.
Okay.
Once again, we got my boy Dom from the Dom Trap. What is going on, brother?
I'm here. It's a pleasure to be here, man. It's so good seeing you post Labor Day. Did you have to work on Labor Day or were you off?
Yes, man. But here, check this out. Got that holiday pay.
Oh, nice. So
I got the holiday.
Had to work Labor Day too, man.
How did it go?
It was busy, but got through it.
Yeah, that was
got to do it, right? It's tough being an essential worker. I'll tell you that much.
Listen, man, it reminds me of this one Drake. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, man. Listen.
Go ahead, bro. Get it off. What verse? What verse from what song, man? It better not be trash.
I'm just. What did he say? I can't take any melatonin. My therapist put me in a 30-day notice.
Thank y'all for coming and checking out the video. We appreciate each and every last one of you for being here. The date of this recording is September 3rd, 2024. We're just so happy to be breathing and alive on this day. Today, we have some excellent news for you, depending on who you are. We also have some very heartbreaking news for the gaming community.
Super heartbreaking, man. Especially this last year has been crazy for developers. And now shutdowns, everything that's been happening over the COVID really struck the entertainment industry in a way that it's crazy to see the aftermath, the aftershock of it after years of it being you can imagine.
I don't want to say that gaming was a niche thing. It's always been popular, but I think it really hit the mainstream during COVID, and it has yet to slow down. But we are seeing the effects of people having lives again. I think that's the best way that we can put it.
Yeah, man.
People have lives, and time needs to be managed. Money has to be managed because of inflation, and we've seen these things.
Inflation is crazy right now.
Yeah, and it's really affecting the video game industry.
Damn near, and they had the audacity to raise it up to $70 a game now. $70 a game. But then again,
$70 a game.
You got Black Myth Wukong that came out for $60, but although it was a digital exclusive, right? No hard copies.
Yeah, no hard copies for Black Myth Wukong, but still. We've seen games that have been digital only that were still $70. So, and that's still an offer that can be, handed out. Not only that, but we've seen collector's editions go from $130 to $150 to even higher than that. So,
yeah, it's definitely insane.
Gaming overall is just at a place that it shouldn't be.
So that leads us here, man. Concord. Been hearing about this game. Do not know much about it. I don't even know what's going on, bro. All I know is that people are hating on it. People were not satisfied with it, and here we are.
Yeah, so Concord has been in development since 2016, so 8 years now.
Oh my!
And looking at where the gaming industry was in 2016 compared to now, it's completely different. Granted, games like Overwatch are still thriving in some ways, but in 2016, this was still a very new and very interesting concept of having 5v5 or 6v6 team hero shooters. And that's when this game went into development. We've seen games be released and shut down within that time frame. Between the past 8 years, we've seen this a multitude of times. I can remember Marvel's Avengers, Anthem, Knockout City, Rumbleverse. We've seen this happen time and time again. It was so odd watching that state of play that Sony did when they announced this game and showed it to us like it was just a brand new idea. And then they announced that the game was going to cost. So there's one thing where you have some games that are just free to play and you just play the game and unlock the cosmetics. But this one, you also had to pay for the game and then pay for the cosmetics. So that's already a bad business decision. And the gameplay wasn't anything special. It was just very middle of the road and very standard for what a hero shooter is. And that leads us to now. This game went into alpha on July 18th, I believe.
Who's developing it?
The developers for this game were Firewalk Studios.
What are they known for?
I believe this, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so check this out. So the game has been in development for 8 years, but this company was founded in 2018, 6 years ago. And I'm reading this from their website. Formed in 2018, Firewalk is led by seasoned developers who know and love multiplayer games. Our experienced leadership team has helped launch some of the biggest entertainment properties across games and film that have garnered millions of dedicated fans and made an impact on their lives. We carry that same passion and drive to our next adventure together in 2023. Firewalk joined PlayStation Studios and unveiled its debut project, Concord. And check this out too. This is crazy. So if we go to their news section on their website, the earliest thing we can see is Firewalk to join PlayStation Studios family. That was April 20th, 420. Nice. 2023. The Concord trailer came out May 24th, which was during that state of play. And then the same day, they had another video saying introducing Concord. They have not had any updates since 2023.
So that goes to show what was going on, huh?
Yeah. So this game has been made for a long time. PlayStation bought the company. They really had stock into this game. A hero shooter of all games, right?
They joined the PlayStation company, bro. That means they joined Sony, a part of Sony.
Right. And that has its ups and downs. And that's in the game industry and the film industry.
With Activision and Blizzard having Overwatch, is that kind of the game that they were going for with this one? Like, was it that sort of game, or was it more of a...
Yeah, so it's definitely in line with what Overwatch was. And I forgot the other game that did it, but yeah, all the hero shooters have suffered a similar fate of either not getting any more content or just being shut down outright.
I mean, you see like Marvel, what's the new Marvel game coming out? That's getting a lot of...
Marvel Rivals?
Yeah, that one's getting a lot of traction.
And it looks really good. And I think that game will be successful. If that game plays its cards right, which it seems like it's going to do, because that game's going to launch with all of its characters. Post updates, you'll get all characters for free. I think the only thing you have to pay for is maybe in-game currency as well as skins.
So like every other game nowadays.
Literally every other game. But I think for the most part, whenever a new character releases, you can just play that character. You don't have to pay any more money. And I think the game is free to play.
People really, really like that genre of gaming, huh?
Yeah, and I see exactly why. With it being so team-based.
See, that's
look at how successful, like, I know it's not the same thing, but CSGO has been for all these years. Like, it has a goal. Everyone knows what the goal is throughout the games, and they just stick to that one thing. Same with Fortnite. It's a battle royale. You just have this one goal to achieve.
Valorant, right? I was playing Valorant heavy when it was coming out. I thought that was a really fun experience. I mean, it's very different from Overwatch. Overwatch's gameplay versus Valorant gameplay is super different, but I see why like team play or Rainbow Six Siege is a great example of that as well. Like
exactly,
even with Jinxie bringing it back to life where it was kind of gone for a while. Like I guess there is a lot of there's a lot of want for those type of games, right?
Yeah. There's definitely a market for those games.
And Sony, I'm not sure if they have. Do they have Overwatch on their systems?
Yeah. Okay. I believe Overwatch is on everything except for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, we could just let's not even speak about that. Right?
Let's not do Nintendo like that, bro. We can't do it.
But we end up here where now the game has finally released. Getting, I guess I'm assuming there's a lot of dislike of the game for some reason.
Yeah, there were definitely some mediocre reviews about the characters not being too memorable, the gameplay not being anything special, very run-of-the-mill and standard game. I've seen people say that this game might have been AI generated, which would make sense in a way.
That's crazy.
I don't want to give them that. I don't want to put that on that company.
And now we're here.
Yeah, we're here. The game has been shut down officially. Well, it's not shut down yet. It will be shutting down in 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, September 6th. The game will be shutting down, and all people that pay for the game will be refunded.
So it reminds me of a Majora's Mask moon, bro. Just give them 3 days, and then the moon's gonna fall on you, bro.
It's over with.
That's crazy, man.
But the new day.
Exactly, dude. Hit him with a moon, bro. Hit him with a moon. But that's actually very sad though, because but you got to realize how many people are going to lose their job, how many people are going to
and that's what we think about every time something in the gaming industry happens. It's like how many families or how many people are going to be affected. We never know. And this is just where we are. I hate to see that this has happened again in such a short time in the matter that has happened, but because I don't even think that the people that played Anthem or bought Anthem, I don't even think that they were refunded. I think that the game just kind of shut down and that was it.
That sucks. And hopefully we'll see, man, these refunds. Oh, another good example of this or kind of a similar thing is with, I was hearing stories about Star Wars Outlaws and people wanting refunds for that game. Like it's crazy. Like the gaming industry and expectations are at such a high today.
Yeah, like everyone, the gaming industry is here to entertain us. We all want to be entertained, and when these companies and these video games fail to do so, it's becoming more apparent of why. And then here we are. We get to situations like this We get to situations with the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Another good example.
Yeah, like hundreds of players at the moment, if even that, many millions of dollars to make, and they're already like talking about layoffs for Rocksteady.
That was one of those games that like the ending leaked, and then a lot of people were like, nah.
Yeah, that was me. I was at least a little bit interested, but then when I saw more gameplay and more cutscenes, I'm like, no. Granted, Kill the Justice League is in the title, but I mean, there's a market for everyone. Everyone has something that they enjoy.
But wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy a similar game, but people seem to enjoy that one? Like there's like
no, so I think Guardians is different. So Guardians of the Galaxy, I still have to play it. All right, I have it on my list. I have it on my Steam Deck. I do want to play it soon. Apparently, it's a great game, right? Don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but it came out at a terrible time because Marvel's Avengers had already released, which was similar, a game that you had to pay full price for. And they also expected you to pay for, cosmetics and everything. So that kind of left a bad taste in everyone's mouth with Marvel and video games. And then for Guardians of the Galaxy to come out right after, people just did not give it the time of day.
Dude, I remember playing Marvel. That's actually one of my first videos, one of the first streaming games that I also played. I thought it was cool, but eventually I felt like maybe the pacing or, I don't know, the certain aspects of the gameplay just kind of bored me. And that's kind of where I was at with it.
That game in particular, you definitely had to play with people that you enjoy playing video games with to enjoy the actual game. And if you have to do that to enjoy the game, I think that's a recipe for disaster in the long run.
I just thought sometimes it was also kind of I don't know how to say, the AI was kind of buggy. It felt almost like an empty.
The game was definitely unfinished.
There was no flavor to it. There was no there was no texture to the game. I felt like, especially with like some of the combat. I remember playing Iron Man, and I don't know, it just didn't feel as satisfying defeating enemies, or it didn't feel satisfying defeating bosses and stuff. Yeah,
it didn't help that Iron Man felt lethargic compared to someone like Miss Marvel or Thor. You think that Iron Man would be able to move around the battlefield pretty easily, but no, they just went and took too many they went in too many wrong directions with that game. I think the fact that game was supposed to be a single player experience, and Square Enix were like, hey, games as a service titles are doing really well. Let's make this a games as a service video game. And that was the beginning of the end for that game. And here we are, 2024, the game has been delisted. You can't even purchase the game anymore.
Wow, I didn't even know that fact. But
yeah, it was delisted when it shut down.
And now here we are with this game. So many bad examples, many great examples of this sort of kind of thing happening here. So let's get into the video and see exactly what Yang Ye has to say about it, and what we also have to say about it.
Well, that was fast. I talked about how Concord hasn't been selling particularly well in my last video. In fact, according to analysts who spoke with IGN, Concord sold roughly 25,000 units.
What? Only 25?
If we do the math, right? Can I pull out my calculator real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. This game costed $40.
40.
So 25K
times 25K?
Times 40. Yep. It's $1 million.
A mil.
It's $1 million.
Off of how much was development?
There's no telling. I haven't seen any numbers yet.
No, sorry. How many years did it take to develop?
8 years.
So a mil out of 8-year development. That return of investment doesn't seem that best.
So I see here that it took reportedly 6 to 8 years to develop. The exact budget is unknown. Estimates are around the $100 million mark. And this is from Forbes. So an estimate is at $100 million. And you're telling me that after we've known about this game for months, and the game officially released and has only made $1 million. Yeah, go ahead and cut it off.
That's insane, bro.
You're losing money by keeping this game alive, literally.
No, they lost their money throughout the whole process, it seems.
Yeah, but more so now. Like, since the product is done, if it's out, you're basically paying people to play your game.
That's bad.
Yeah.
10,000 of those on Steam and 15,000 of those on PlayStation.
Jeez.
That's about as abysmal as you can get for a AAA live service.
Can you pause the video for a second?
Actually, I don't think I've...
Go to SteamDB and let's see how many people are playing this currently. So this is where we are as of right now. 111 players.
It peaked and then it went straight down.
Yeah.
So
that's basically release day almost.
So on Tuesday it had 228 players.
Yeah. Can you change the filter to 1 month? Okay, so this is since launch. That's when it peaked.
607 players.
697 was the all-time peak 11 days ago.
What was Wukong's? It's like it tramples this, right?
Let's look at it. You can pull it up. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What did they say? Sick. Comparison is the thief of all joy, huh?
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy, and we're seeing it here. But man,
that is crazy.
In 24 hours, go back to Wukong. Oh, you closed it. Okay.
No, I'm here.
1.2 million players in a 24-hour peak. 2.4 million players at launch. You're telling me that you spend 8 years on a video game, 6 to 8 years on a video game, $100 million to develop, and you can't even reach 1,000? You can't even reach 700?
That is sad.
It's gotta sting.
Listen, I genuinely feel bad for the developers. I genuinely feel bad. I really do.
I do too, but at the same time, I don't want to say that they knew what they were getting themselves into, but man.
That's sad, bro.
Firewalk Studios. Jeez.
I've ever seen a disaster quite like this from a commercial standpoint for a AAA game of this scale.
Let's pause this one more time. Just for clarification, that's just on Steam. We don't know the PlayStation numbers yet, but yeah.
Still though.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Even with Wukong, the fact that in the past 24 hours they had 1-something million players. Think about what it's doing on PlayStation 5.
So bad that players eventually started to have a hard time finding matches. Matchmaking just wasn't working because there weren't enough players to support matchmaking, and so across Reddit we started seeing
how do you expect to matchmake when there's only 220?
You run into the same people every game.
Horrible. Number of people complain
that sounds depressing.
Certain modes are just straight up impossible to play, and others you have to wait too long to engage with, and so that further drove players away. Even those who were giving this game a chance were having a hard time justifying the patience that they had to have for this title. And so that brings us to today, September 3rd, 2024. If you go to the official PlayStation Twitter page, you'll find this ominous tweet, an important update on Concord from Firewalk Studios. And yeah, you can imagine what this is going to be about. So this is what the blog post reads like. This is from game director Ryan Ellis from Firewalk Studios. We're talking 8 years in development, and this was the unfortunate result. So here's what the post reads like. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PS5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. There wasn't really much of a community, but, you know, there were some players who tried the game out. And again, that's even those who gave this game a chance and were constructive about both the good and bad qualities were not optimistic that this game would survive for long, and were adamant about expressing all of the areas in which this game was lackluster. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and explore other options, including those.
The 6th, it came out, what was it, the 28th?
Well, it went into beta July 18th, I think, and then officially launched on the 20-something of August. Yeah, 11 days ago, apparently.
That's sad.
That will better reach our players. September 6th, 2024, folks, will be exactly 2 weeks after the August 23rd, 2024 launch of the game. I've never seen a live service AAA.
8 years, and you're able to keep the game alive for 2 weeks.
That is sad.
Crazy. There are 52 weeks in a year. 52 times 8 is what?
Hey, give me a rest in peace. Damn, bro. They got Tombstone, bro.
2 weeks.
Damn, man.
Terrible.
And that deserves another shot, but we'll see about that.
We'll see about it.
Onward.
Play live service published by such a high-profile publisher die this fast. I'm actually surprised how fast this died. I knew this was gonna surely die, but usually, they release, like a season or two of content before they send it off to an early grave. But this, they just sent off to die from the outset. They didn't try a free-to-play model even, though it could very well be that the game's monetization system just wasn't built for a free-to-play model, so they decided to forego that entirely because this game would just be a money sink. Now, whether this game will shut down forever remains to be seen. They do say here that they're exploring options, including those that will better reach our players. And so maybe
let's pause it here.
You would hope so. You would hope so.
I think that this is what this means, right? I think that this is what the best option for them would be to shut the game down, refund all players, come back, I don't know, next year, the year after, free to play, just free to play, and limit the characters, and you unlock the characters with in-game currency. That might be the option that they go with, because if I'm not mistaken, they did the same thing with, or something similar with Foam Stars. I think Foam Stars is actually going to free to play now, which is PlayStation's Splatoon-like game. Did you see anything about that?
No, I have not. But I think also you have to realize the investment going into it, if they're draining money, and that's a crazy face to pause on, but whatever.
Yeah, that's wild.
You have to imagine the amount of money they're draining into the game, and then now for them to go into a hiatus, I just don't see it.
Look at how Multiverses was handled. While we're on the subject of free to play games,
I like that game.
The game, you at first you had to pay to get into the game.
I did,
and then it was fun, and then the game just shut down for a year. Something close to it.
I got my week out of it.
Yeah, and they re-released, and apparently I think it's doing okay. I actually want to see how it's doing on Steam. I'm actually curious.
July 19th release date. What's it looking at?
Jeez, man.
Oh, all-time 153,000 players 2 years ago.
Are 2,346 players at the moment.
Damn, bro.
And you can see that's the initial peak when it launched, and then that's the peak when it relaunched. It peaked at over 100K to the right. If you go to 2024. No, there you go. Yeah, so that's the peak when it relaunched. 114K.
It was dead here?
Yeah, it was dead. Remember, they shut the game down.
What the hell?
Yeah, they shut it all the way down. If you didn't have the game before, you couldn't play it anytime. And if you did play it, you had to play offline because they shut down the online servers. And now the game is back in the state that it should have launched in. And yeah, peaking at 2346.
What goes into this, man? Is it a rush, development shit? Is it again the investors? Is it again the studios?
With Multiverses, it was definitely development and figuring out how to monetize everything.
I want to say it is WB Games. I mean, look at what happened to
Suicide Squad.
Mortal Kombat, something they were both passionate about. The way it kind of dropped, the way it kind of evolved, it seemed rushed, and it seemed like, okay, we have this idea, and then okay, great idea, now hurry up.
And they told us that they spent 4 hours on development, and we cannot tell.
Did you say 4 hours or 4 years?
No, 4 years of development.
There you go.
That was the longest game that they've developed as NetherRealm, as a company. 4 years on the Mortal Kombat game, and it's still not in the greatest of shapes. I'm not happy with the name.
Guys, something you'll learn about Dom and versus. I like MK, bro. It's good.
I like MK too. Here's the thing: is I like MK, but if we look at where MKX was at this time after it released, it's night and day.
MKX is.
Am I right or am I wrong?
MKX
no, I'm saying when it
platinum.
Released. When we look at MKX when it released. We got the combat pack, and we saw how popular that game was and how fun it was at that time. MK1 hadn't been out for a year yet.
I don't even remember, bro.
We've gotten, 6 characters, 5 cameo characters. Another thing, just the cameo system overall, we're not big fans of. I mean, you've admitted this. We have, a few weeks into the new DLC releases with 3 new characters, and we're going to get 3 more afterwards. Are you even going to pay for that DLC?
Nah, I'm going to try to figure out a way to...
Did you pay for Combat Pack 1 and Combat Pack 2?
No, I didn't. I couldn't justify it. It's because, bro,
I'm talking about with Mortal Kombat X. Did you have the combat packs?
Oh, no, yeah, I did.
Mortal Kombat 11, did you have the combat packs?
Yeah.
You did, because you played Rain. There we go. We go. That's all I'm saying, bro. This game is not like it should be. This is so weird of WB to do. And I'm afraid that NetherRealm will suffer layoffs and then shut down as a company, and we won't get any more MK because of this game. I'm so terrified because I love MK. You know I love MK.
Listen, man, I hope not. I mean, I think the game is fairly good, but with Concord, it just seems like I don't think they have a way out. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or whatever, but I'm just saying, like,
I got you.
I mean, within the first 4 minutes or whatever, I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying?
Have you seen any gameplay?
No, I didn't see any gameplay at all.
I hope that he shows something throughout his video.
If not, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll situation where they're shutting the game down to overhaul it and release it again, but that's quite the gamble to take on a game whose optics are just extremely bad right now.
Oh, here we go.
And, you know, this is a new IP. Sure, we can look to situations like Final Fantasy XIV, which launched disastrously. They nuked it, and then they revived it, and now it's the most popular MMO of all time, or one of the...
But MMOs have that ability to have that lifespan for some weird I don't know if it is because of the way the games are structured, the subscription based, but they have that ability or that cushion to have that more lengthy process. I feel like with MMOs, a lot of people who play those games are used to having a bigger evolving development cycle than console players or people who play like these type of games, you know, like versus an MMO.
I have another example for you. In the past 11 years, what game has gotten close to reaching the heights of GTA 5?
As in terms of what? Online play?
Like what game that released as an open world just video game that's similar to a GTA like? What game has gotten to those peaks?
Oh man, you got but you got those Chinese games.
None.
All right.
Sleeping Dogs, no. I love Sleeping Dogs.
Genshin Impact? But no.
Genshin Impact. I'm saying like open world, like Grand Theft Auto type games, like just open world games.
Oh man, that's a big question. I don't have an
Saints
answer.
Row. No, there've been multiple Saints Rows. No, they haven't reached those heights. I feel like there was another one that I'm missing, but no, the Grand Theft Auto is doing it so well because that it scratches everybody's itch. That's literally it. This game just does not scratch an itch.
And where is that itch? Where is that itch happening at?
Within the gameplay.
Oh, okay.
Look at Animal Crossing, right? If you look at Animal Crossing, COVID hits, boom, out of here. Everybody knows what Animal Crossing is, right? If you're not playing Animal Crossing, you're lame.
Dude, my girlfriend was trying to find an Animal Crossing Switch just to play the game.
See? Mortal Kombat 1's not doing that for anybody.
But Mortal Kombat, okay, that's an unfair...
Concord's not doing that for anyone. You know?
Okay, now you're moving the goalposts. Concord and MK are two different things.
They're similar. They're similar.
In what way?
They're greedy.
Concord is greedy?
Yes.
And
there's
how?
Monetization in a game that you already pay for.
With
Mortal Kombat, there's monetization in the game that you pay for. With Wukong, there's no monetization in the game that you pay for. That's all I'm saying here. That's all I'm saying. They're similar because they're greedy. They're in the same boat pretty much.
When we're talking about Wukong and when we're talking about Elden Ring or games that are like that, I feel like, you know what? You're right. I think you're right.
You're trying to debate me, but that's just a fact.
No, I'm not trying to debate you. These are my real thoughts. It just happens to be a debatable thing here. But there you go, man. I feel bad for Concord, you know?
Yeah.
Can you give me a hell yeah?
Biggest, if not the biggest MMOs of all time. And maybe that possibility is there in the future if they really work on this game and really overhaul it and really make it something substantially, new feeling. But that is quite the risk to take. At least Final Fantasy XIV had the Final Fantasy name behind it. Concord is just Concord, and it failed to resonate with players. And for it to, explore other options that sees it release in some way, shape, or form later would involve them overhauling this game so much that it's practically unrecognizable. And I'm just not sure that that's an option, a risk, a gamble that Sony and PlayStation would be willing to take, especially with how much money they've lost on the launch of this game. 8 years in development with a budget that, isn't, GTA 6, but it's still nothing to scoff at. This was ultimately still a huge financial loss for Sony. And yeah, I cannot imagine them taking a risk with this. Best case scenario, they are going to overhaul the monetization so that Concord can be supported as a free-to-play game, maybe, but the bones overall are maybe going to be the same. If that's the case, we'll see how that goes, but do keep in mind that the beta for Concord already failed to attract players, and that was free to play. So even going free to play, I don't think
that's just sad, bro. I'm sorry, that's just sad. Look at that, just a little sad little chart there.
Yep.
I'm sorry,
it went somewhere, then it went nowhere.
Hope for this game. I personally get the sense that by exploring other options, we're ultimately looking at this game shutting down forever, and there are definitely going to be layoffs at this studio. And worst case scenario, this studio may very well get shut down. I mean, it was acquired by Sony and PlayStation, and you know how publishers are. As for how this situation will be handled in terms of people who have purchased the game or were intending to purchase the game, it reads right here, quote, while we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. If you purchase the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. And then for those who want to refund it on the Steam Store, Epic Games Store, it's the same deal. Refunds will happen automatically. Sony and PlayStation are essentially giving all of the money that they've made from Concord, which isn't a whole lot, back to players, no questions asked. So on
that is a good thing. That should be mentioned.
This just makes me think, Cyberpunk. Remember when they were offering full refunds for Cyberpunk 2077?
No, they did that?
Yeah. If you wanted a full refund for Cyberpunk 2077 after release, you could get it. Let's go to the max. Let's look at all of the
Oh, this is when it dropped off.
So that's when it dropped. I believe that those peaks were when the updates were releasing, and I think that most recent peak was when the most recent update came out, the one with Idris Elba.
I like my boy Idris.
Yeah, you love Knuckles, huh?
Nah, bro, I fell asleep.
But yeah, shortly after the game released, it released in such a state where if you wanted a full refund, you could just request said refund and get refunded for the game.
Damn, I
remember there was a point where they sold physical copies for $5 because I have a physical copy of the game for $5 from Best Buy.
Oh, I remember that too.
Yeah, so that shows how this game has thrived, I guess you could say. And now I'm thinking about this too. Sorry, I don't want to keep getting distracted, but could you look up The Witcher 3 on SteamDB? Dang, so still fairly popular.
I mean, it's one of those all-time, you need to play. Like, if you're a gamer, you need to play this game.
It's an essential, pretty much. It's not for everybody, but it is essential.
I thought it was good from what I played. I just, you know how I am with open world.
Yeah, you don't stick with games.
All right, that's a shot. That's hate.
It's not hate.
That's hate.
It's facts.
I stick with games okay, when it's open world, like we were talking about Zeldas or The Legend of Zelda's, Breath of the Wild or whatever. Not my favorite games of all time or whatever, but I'll stick with them, okay? But when it comes to open world games, I'm just over it. I'll stick with Elden Ring, another one.
All right, so I didn't mean to get us distracted.
So I wanted to get into a little bit of gameplay here, just to see what's going on, so I get a better.
Let's watch this game race video.
The new 5v5 hero shooter published by
Sony. Oh, I see. Okay.
Bro, this just does not look fun.
Sony acquired a few years back to add
a little slower paced
of live service.
It's ugly.
Now, there is a lot of
look at the color palette they decided to go with.
It reminds me of Team Fortress or something.
Kind of set to call it a failure before it's even out. That said, I'm giving Concord at least a fair shake, trying to evaluate the game on its own merits. I mean, we'll make videos.
It does look plain Jane.
Look at the time to kill too.
Big controversy about it if the game is bad, but the thing is, that's not what this is. This is impressions.
It looks imbalanced.
And we agree with what's going on. This is
the characters don't look interesting,
and I
it's very Overwatchy.
Don't think that it's bad.
Yeah,
it needs to be said that could change. I don't know, but for what I have played,
he's saying it's not even that bad
or anything. Because it's not. It's got a
it's just painfully average.
That I don't like, and I will tell you plenty about that in the next few minutes. But let's get into it. So on the surface,
oh my God! Did you see that animation?
You got a suck machine. Yeah,
you saw that animation.
Look at that.
What the hell, bro?
Bro, 8 years of development.
What the hell?
8 years in development. That's what we get.
Oh my God.
On the Steam Store and Epic Games Store, They will refund players who bought the game over the coming days, and they'll send confirmation emails and contact customers directly, so on and so forth. And then once those refunds are issued, players will no longer have access to the game. And yeah, I mean, the game will shut down on September 6th. It is an always online game. It is a live service, so there's no point in having the game in your library after that date, as you'll just not be able to play it or access it or boot it up in any way, shape, or form. And already we're seeing that, say, if we go to Steam, the game is no longer available on the store for purchase. And if you go to the PlayStation store and go to Concord's listing, you'll see that a purchase option is nowhere to be found.
That sucks.
The release date here has disappeared, and the label of it simply says announced. Sony have essentially nuked Concord from existence, and after September 6th, it'll be like it never existed. And while we don't know for sure whether it'll stay that way or not, because they are, quote unquote, exploring other options, I'd be genuinely...
What do you think that means, exploring other options?
Like I said, I think it's going to be them, I think they're going to pull the game, and then they're going to think of a way to use those resources and possibly put it out as free to play.
Oh, that's right.
That's exactly what I think that means.
That would be a good option. I just don't think... Oh man,
it may not be successful, but that's the only option that they have, really. Unless they just want to shut that down and then take that $100 million loss.
Look at
estimated $100 million loss.
Look at X Defiant, and then look
the
at
Call of Duty killer.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go.
Shocked if they announced down the line that, hey guys, Concord is coming back, and we've taken your feedback and made a whole new game. Basically, it's just it seems like a highly unlikely prospect. I think them saying we're exploring other options is them just buying time before the inevitable announcement that Concord is as good as dead, or maybe they just won't talk about it ever again. But ultimately, I mean, this is all highly unsurprising, especially when you look at the latest Steam charts numbers surrounding Concord and how the 24-hour peak is sitting at merely 110 players. Right now, only 79
It got higher, right? We checked it right now.
Yeah,
it was a little more.
We got higher.
Players are checking this game out. Even Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has more players, not by much, but still higher 24-hour peaks of 144 players. And right now, 97 players are checking this game out over Concord 79. And that game has been out for many months now, whereas Concord is still fresh. It's only been out for less than 2 weeks as of the recording of this video. In stark contrast, we have Valve's Deadlock, which recently achieved an all-time peak of 171,490.
What game is this?
So they have a hero shooter
as well. This is a game that's still in testing
mode. They finally made another game.
You have to get invited by Valve or people who are playing the game in order to access it. They've really not marketed this at all. Valve just kind of announced that they're working on this.
This game leaked, by the way, too.
What was it called?
It's called
Deadlock?
Deadlock, that's it.
Here is every Deadlock hero summarized and explained in 30 seconds, or maybe
even these characters don't even look interesting.
Massive health regeneration and somewhat of a damage mitigation, and his ultimate lets him fly and slam into his target.
Wow, what is with this industry going towards this type of gaming?
I have no idea, but I would rather Valve put more resources into making a sequel to Half-Life Alyx, because that game is amazing.
Dude, that game is fantastic.
That's the greatest VR game I've ever played, man. I love it.
It was so immersive, so amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So it's just another one of these.
They want to make video games like this. So that just shows where we are in the industry.
That's crazy, bro.
Depressing is what it is.
Seeing these kinds of crazy numbers. So yeah, that's the power of Valve's name. Whereas Concord is a completely new IP. It had an uphill battle with the fact that the live service hero shooter market is so oversaturated, and unfortunately they failed to stand out from the pack. Nothing about the game was utterly abysmal or anything. It was just very average at everything, and that's just not enough in this landscape. And I will once again ask Sony, are you prepared for this push of making tons of live services? The initial number was 12 live service games by 2025. They've since reduced that to 6 of the 12 live service games by March 2000.
That was a quick walk back.
That's crazy.
That was a quick 12. That's so ambitious, dude.
That's way too ambitious for Sony of all companies. Yeah.
This is why I'm talking about like the investors and them going into the gaming industry. It would be a fascinating thing to have a journalist, a gaming journalist, kind of deep dive into what exactly is going on behind the scenes, and why are they pushing so much these developers to quickly do things. Like, this is not fast food. Fast food sometimes is good. Honestly, you need things to like develop. You need things to like, you know, get there. You can't just like throw people, oh, you're gonna enjoy this game because we say you're gonna enjoy this game. No, people are gonna call you out. People are gonna do things like this with Concord. People have voices, and for some reason, I don't know what it is with these companies that just don't realize it. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they make enough money when launch, and who cares what happens with it over the next couple of years.
As long as they can buy their new boat, I think they're happy. I don't think they care about what we want as gamers.
It seems like the 12 new live services. What the fuck are you talking about?
What time do we have to play 12 live service games?
So stupid.
You know, with everything else that's being released, why would we spend so much time to play these 12 live service games from Sony when we have everything else going on in the world? I don't get it. I don't get that logic.
Neither do I, dude.
2026. That's still way too many live service games from one publisher within the span of 2 years. Concord was among those live services. Look how it turned out. Now, some of the ones in the pipeline include like Marathon, which is Bungie's next big project. But even Marathon is getting reports that behind the scenes, things are not going all that great. So Jason Schreier spoke to the Friends Per Second podcast and discussing Marathon. He had this to say: it's not great from what I've heard. There's a reason that it was planned for this year and slipped a whole year, and people that I've talked to are a little pessimistic about it even hitting its current planned deadline, which is sometime in 2025. And Jason Schreier likened the development of Marathon to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that's one game you never want to be compared to, given how hard of a flop that was. He said, Suicide Squad came out and just totally flopped, and I'm worried about Marathon being in a similar situation where it's been in development for a while. It entered development when extraction shooters were super hot. I don't know if that's the case anymore, and now because they've committed so much money and because it was the project that was furthest along as opposed to all their other incubation bets, they're really putting a lot into it, and I'm just not sure there's much of a chance that it'll be successful. But then again, you never know. It also feels like...
Wow, what a similar story, huh? What a similar story.
It's so depressing.
What do we keep
so
hearing?
much time. We spend so much money into this product to make people happy and to entertain them, just for no one to play our product whenever it releases. And it's just an endless cycle of that over the past 5, 6, 7 years.
That's crazy.
Jeez,
I feel like these stories you would hear like back then, like rarely, and now it's like every other month.
It's an everyday thing now.
Crazy.
Like the fact that I can't look forward to a new Time Splitters game is depressing.
And you always mention that game, bro. I never played it.
Bro, that's my game. That's my game. You got to play it. It's on PlayStation too.
That's crazy,
all 3
bro.
of them.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Mm-hmm. You get to it. Fucking 2032, right?
Like a bit of a Concord situation where it's been in development for 8 years, and 8 years ago the landscape of live service hero shooters was different. It wasn't quite as saturated. There was maybe more of an opportunity for those types of games, but Concord came in too little too late when that market was way too saturated, and we have all these other hero shooters, all these other live services that are far more feature complete and that just do what Concord tried to do but better. And now Marathon comes in here trying to tap into the market of extraction shooters, but at this present point, that market is saturated. There are plenty of games that people have made their main extraction shooter experience, and you just have to completely surpass those in every aspect for you to stand out. And so it's a riskier proposition in this day and age when that ship is sort of sailed.
There's already giants of that type of game. Listen, it's kind of hypocritical for me to even say that statement, because there's already giants doing what I'm doing. You know, there's better reactors, or there's better insiders, or better people that can articulate these thoughts. But I'm just saying.
But I get what you're saying. Like, I don't think there's another duo better than us. But you know, I get the point that you're trying to make.
I'm humble, and you're you, right? You're there to put the fire in the. You're there to put the gas in the fire, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Fire starter.
Keeping it real. But
why are you showing me a black power fist? What are you doing, man?
No, man. I'm just saying.
What are you on?
This not have nothing to do with race. This is not
You
nothing
sure?
to do with race.
Because I mean, you said that I'm me. What do you mean I'm me?
No, not. Listen,
No,
bro.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. Go ahead.
See, those are the moments where you got to take me out of there, okay? But
Okay.
damn, I lost my train of thought.
You're saying that we're trash and there's other people out there that react better than us.
No, I'm saying like I get the ambition of wanting to, maybe the developers wanted to create their own because they love Overwatch or they love those type of games, but at the same time, something maybe you can agree with is having a kind of your own thought into it, or kind of having your own, maybe bringing something to life that is different, you know. Right. And that's why I said it's kind of hypocritical for me to say that, but I'm just saying like bringing something a little different than what is being delivered, right? What do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, that's just what happens with saturation.
Yeah.
You know, when there's just too many of the same things out there, it's just hard to balance everything that goes into it.
And you know what? Let's just say that you do want to make a game like this. Maybe, you know, what is making your game stand out versus what's already on the field, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even in, you know, what we talked about earlier with Marvel Rivals, like who doesn't want to be Spider-Man swinging around in a hero shooter?
That's where I feel like that's where the IP carried that type of game genre. Yeah. That's my criticism of that, is that I feel like it's just a lot of IP driven as well. But, you know, you got Marvel, how we were talking about earlier, we got Marvel Avengers, and, you know, it took that Marvel Alliance type of games, Ultimate Alliance, and, you know, it didn't matter if you threw Spider-Man or Thor or any of that. I feel like what do you think about the hate that I'm just throwing at Avengers? Because you were on that, guys. Don was on that game. You know, he loves that game.
I was a fan. The game had where you could get like free skins if you buy 5 gum. I would go out and buy 5 gum and use those codes and get those free skins. I played that game religiously almost.
And you would chew the gum up?
It broke my heart. I didn't chew all the gum. But it broke my heart that nobody else played that game the way that me and a few other people did. Shout out to my boy Hiley. But yeah, we were on that game. We were looking for everybody. When they were releasing content and saying that they were fixing things, we were excited, but nobody was still coming to the game. Granted, looking at what was out at the time, Warzone, a big one, Fortnite, I see exactly why, but I was there. So I see where this is happening. I see how this hurts the gaming industry. I see how it hurts the developers and the families of people that worked on these games. It sucks. That's the best way that I can put it. And it's not slowing down at any pace at all. It's just going to keep happening for the time being. So, yeah.
And so we'll see how Marathon does. It is Bungie, and so I'm sure there's going to be a loyal community. There's going to be loyal followers who will tune into this game. I think it'll definitely not flop like Concord did, but whether it can live up to, you know, sort of the legacy that Destiny established, and whether it can ultimately make money in the long run, and whether it can be a successful game, that remains to be seen. Jason Schreier doesn't seem super optimistic about things, but like you said, you never know. But yeah, this kind of gambling with live services and making a live service centric future, it just feels like such a dumb idea, and we see it with every new live service flop release. Unless your live service comes from a place of true, genuine, passionate inspiration, if you just pursue live services for the sake of trying to throw darts until you hit a bullseye, that's just a path rife with woes.
I think it's the investors, bro. I don't really think it's the developers. I'm not even gonna throw.
I think it's both.
Well, okay, why do you think it's both?
They go hand in hand. The investors to the developers, and that's how these things get done. So somewhere there's somebody on either team. I don't know if there's a communication or what it could be, but yes, definitely I'm not saying that there's anybody to blame. Of course, I'm not saying that. But if there were someone to be at blame, it would be both in some kind of way.
I don't know, bro. I feel like it's a PC answer, bro. I
mean, with developers, like, there are different levels of developers. You got like lead developers. Of course, they're probably the ones talking to the investors. Mortal Kombat. We keep coming back to this, right? We didn't know what NetherRealm were doing. We had no idea until they had their investors call and they announced, "Hey, yeah, there's the new Mortal Kombat that's being released. It's been in development for 4 years. We're super excited about it, and we projected to make this many millions of dollars." That was our introduction to Mortal Kombat 1. We didn't get an official release or anything until months after. So we see who's leading and who's really pushing the needle when it comes to game development.
Shit, bro.
It's all money driven at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's
It's no longer done just for fun. It's no longer just a hobby for developers. This is really what it comes down to, is that these games need to spend time. They need to come out in great shape, and they need to just make a lot of money. That's it.
shit.
If that game fails to do so, it's just going to get shut down.
Just like
Prime
this.
example.
I feel like it's just gonna continue to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, you do only have to hit the bullseye once to make billions of dollars in revenue in the long run. And that's what Sony is betting on, that one of these will take off and the other ones will be made up for with this massive success of one live service that just really takes off and stays that way for the long term. So that's what they're gambling on, but I think it's just not a particularly great gamble.
That's horrible, because not only are you gambling, but you're gambling the people's money. You're gambling the workers. It's like, imagine working somewhere where it just feels temporary. Like,
right.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That's where the passion starts to leak out and not want to. Like, imagine if it's temporary, you don't want to. I mean, not what my job.
Yeah, because you're wondering what the outcome is going to be. So if you know that you're not going to be on this for long, or you know that this thing's not going to last for long, you're not going to be inclined to keep working with it or working for it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. One that comes from a place of genuine artistry. It's just kind of the trend to chase as a corporation is what it feels like. But who knows? Maybe one of these 6 to 12 whatever projects that they're working
Ridiculous.
on will manage to stick the landing. But Concord certainly wasn't it. Marathon, we're hearing iffy things about. And then we have heard of some of their canceled projects like The Last of Us live service game that they decided to scrap so that Naughty Dog could focus on what they do best, which is single player games, which was, I think, the right choice. At least Helldivers 2 was fairly successful, though numbers have kind of petered out, but enough players come back where this is still a healthy live service. Though this was definitely, I think, one of those unexpected live service successes for Sony.
Huge.
And I don't know if it's one that makes the kind of revenue that they want a live service to make, but still, this is one of the ones that you can look at and say this was actually a successful product. But there tend to be more missing.
When a game is successful, when people who you work with or people you hang out with, they don't really know the ins and outs of the gaming industry, like how you and I might know. And they bring up Helldivers 2, or they'll bring up a Fortnite. That's when you get to know, oh, this is reaching an audience that's beyond, the casual gamer. This is, this beyond the, let me rephrase that, beyond the gamer, This is reaching a casual audience.
Yeah, look at it this way. I hate that I'm doing Mortal Kombat the way that you do Drake. But looking at that game sold more than Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6. Granted, Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 are both more popular than Mortal Kombat 1 is right now. It has its audience. It's made its money, But as a video game, it's not making many people happy. How odd is that?
I think Tekken 8 is probably the best out of the three, out of the solid gameplay. I think probably second would be MK for me personally, and then Street Fighter would be third.
Where would you put Guilty Gear?
Guilty Gear?
Where would you put DNF Duel?
that goes with the furries.
Then hits. Who knows what other Sony live service projects look like?
We'll continue.
Whether they're worth being excited for. Time will tell. But for now, Concord is kind of the center of discussion because of what an epic flop it was and how quickly it shut down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the latest on the Concord situation. Possibly the last video I'll make on this game unless they announce the fate of this game down the line.
Yeah, man. Thanks to Yongye, bro. Really,
shout out Yongye.
He really helped us out through this. Through this discussion, but I feel like we kind of overlapped our opinions there, and it was interesting to see that we're kind of all coming to a conclusion of okay, If you as a consumer are trying something out and it's not hitting you immediately, it's gonna be apparent that it's not gonna be a great.
You'll just go back to what you know.
Exactly. And
if you've been playing Fortnite for the past 7 years, and then you go and try to play Black Myth Wukong, and you don't like it within the first hour, you're just gonna go back to Fortnite. That's pretty much it.
How it goes, man. That's how it goes. Any final thoughts here? No,
just I just want more video games that are going to entertain us.
Beautiful.
Make video games fun again.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Make video games fun again.
That's it.
Damn. MVFA. Make video games fun again. Wait, did I say that right? Whatever, man. If you enjoy
MVGFA.
I'm not the best. I'm not the best.
MVGFA. Say it with me.
MVGFA. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go check out Dom at his own YouTube channel and podcast, the Dom Trap, which is everything is going to be linked down below. And of course, Yonge, oh my God, he's just massive or whatever. Pause. Go check out his video. Thank you very much.
Glaze alert.
With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Have a good one, y'all. Peace.